I'm suing my mom for $25,000 because she used my college fund after my dad died.
When did your dad die? How long ago?
A few years ago. He died right before my senior year, so before I graduated.
And there was a $25,000 college fund that your husband left for your daughter's college?
We had set aside $25,000 to be used for her college, and he was working. I was a stay-at-home mom, so but we had to use it in order to pay the house off after he died. We just got into I just got into a financial situation, and I had nowhere else to turn, or else we would have lost the house.
So what was the arrangement? Was this in a trust fund? Was this in a savings account?
We just had a savings account.
A savings account for her college?
For her college fund, yes.
So how were you supposed to live after your husband died? I mean, it sounds like to me you're saying, but Judge, I had to use the college fund to live.
Right.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
That you were, based on the complaint, I understand that you were on the verge of losing the house.
Yes.
The house is going to be foreclosed on.
Yes. Yes, I have the paperwork for that too.
So tell me, I need to understand what happened.
So, my husband was killed in a car accident.
Oh my God.
And
sorry.
it was the worst day of my life. Unfortunately, that situation brought us together.
So why didn't you all get along? Tell me. Obviously I'm going to rule on the money, but there's more happening here.
Right.
Between the two of you than this $25,000, which is significant. Mm-hmm. But why weren't you all getting along?
We painted.
She was a daddy's girl.
She was definitely a daddy's girl. Definitely a daddy's girl. We painted a picture when we put our lives together, my husband and I, and found out we were pregnant and we had a girl, and everything turned pink and bows, and you have the picture perfect life that you plan out.
Right. Only child?
Only child. We had her, and right away I had postpartum. I was unable to breastfeed, and I just felt like a failure. And there was such a disconnect there. I did go to a breastfeeding specialist. She tried to help. My husband was so supportive. And I tried the pump. We tried so many different things, and it ended up in tears almost every night.
Yeah.
So we had to move on from there and just use formula, which my husband was very supportive about. And so he took a lot of the initiative in feeding her, which created a lot of that time together, that bonding time. And since then, she's just been a daddy's girl. She's more of a tomboy. I'm more of a girly girl. And she just spent more time with him. She went fishing and playing golf, things that, sometimes I just felt like a third wheel.
Right. Well, you lost your dad tragically. I lost my dad suddenly, not in an auto accident, but one minute he was there and then he was gone. And so I know that trauma. I do know that trauma. But you're in here suing your mom over this $25,000, which she has said to me is that she needed that money to save the home that you grew up in. Mm-hmm. So talk to me. What are you thinking?
I didn't know that she had used the money. I always thought that it was there. My dad had told me that when I was ready to go to college, that I would have money that he set aside for me to go to college. And I felt like he really believed in me and wanted me to go to college. And so when I went to start applying and putting it together and asked her about the money, it was gone. It was already spent, and I didn't have a choice or a say in it. And I think it was too much for me.
My first thought is, whose name was on the savings account? Was it the dad's only? Was it the mom and the dad's? Was the daughter listed on there at all? Without knowing that, the question really is, when does a promise become an obligation? Should children benefit from their parents' sacrifices forever? Life does not care about your plans. Think about it. The daughter didn't earn the $25,000. The mother didn't earn it either. The father earned it. The entire fund exists because one parent spent years sacrificing for a future event. So it raises an interesting question. When a parent saves money for a child, does that money become the child's the moment it's set aside, or does it remain a family asset until it's given? Secondly, there's a difference in what is fair and what is equal. Life isn't always fair. The daughter lost a college fund, mother lost a husband. Neither one got what they wanted. Sometimes people compare losses when the losses aren't even comparable. The interesting question is whether fairness even exists when everyone loses. Get back.
All right, so now explain to me, I want to see the documentation about the house. Help me understand exactly what was going on with the house. You got behind on the notes.
Yes.
You were a stay-at-home mom, so you weren't working outside the home.
Yes.
And were you able to maybe get a job? Were you able to do something? How are you all being supported?
At first, right after he died, we had a grieving period where we were together, and we actually it was probably the better time of my life. Then reality started to set in. Bills started coming in, notices in different colors. I did end up getting a job.
So you were making the effort. You did apply. You weren't just sitting at home wringing your hands.
Absolutely.
You were making the effort to try to find some source of income into the home.
Yes.
Right.
But it was just a lot more than I can handle.
Right.
The mortgage and, keeping up with everything.
How much was the mortgage?
The mortgage was $4,000 a month.
Okay.
And
that's the documentation that you brought to court today?
That's the documentation, yes.
Okay, may I see that?
Absolutely. So this is the foreclosure, intent of foreclosure, and then this is the receipt of payment where I used the $25,000 for the home.
Did you ever think to just sit down and say, Lily, this is where we are. Your father made this commitment. He put aside the $25,000, but this is my reality, that we're going to lose our home because I now have this letter of foreclosure if I don't get caught up. Did you ever think to just sit down and have that conversation with her?
We don't really sit down and have conversations. It's usually either one-sided. We even tried to get counseling together.
You did? You did try to get counseling together?
Yes, we tried to get counseling.
You say no.
No.
No, she didn't try to get counseling?
She wanted me to, but I didn't want to.
Tell me why.
I felt like it was being forced on me, and I wasn't ready to.
And you were angry.
Open up, and yeah.
I mean, let's get real about this. You were angry. You were grieving. Your father's gone. He was snatched from you in a sense, in a car accident. And one minute he's with you and then he's gone. Would it have helped if your mother had sat down and said, Lily, I need this money to save our home? Would it have helped?
I would have liked her to tell me what was going on and at least talk about it with me. That would have been.
Anytime we sit down, it's not just a conversation like that. It's backlash. It's anger. She was still grieving in a very different way than I was.
I wish, Lily, that you had really been open, though, to going to counseling. I understand why you didn't. I understand that you probably weren't in a headspace to go to counseling, but it may have helped. And so you're saying that you couldn't talk to her. You made the unilateral decision to spend the money to save the home.
Yes, not by myself. I mean, I prayed about it. I thought about it. I went through all the numbers. I talked to some friends, and financially, and just to have a roof over our head, I think that was the best decision to use the money. We can figure everything else out later, but now we're here. So
what will it take to fix this? Starting with you first. What will it take to fix this?
I would love her to live in the house with me and go to a community college, start off that way, and I will do whatever I can to help her. Whatever financial needs, I will get a second job. I don't know. We just don't talk, and I don't know what else to do.
Obviously, I'm going to rule on this money. Lily, I'm going to rule on the money. But there is a bigger piece to this than the money. You will go to college. We're going to figure that out today before you leave this courthouse.
I feel like right now I really need my space, and I think that this would help me get my freedom, having the money to go to college and just separate for a little bit so that I can figure out how to be on my own and not feel like I'm being so suffocated all the time.
We're going to work this out. All right, but more importantly, before we leave this courtroom, I want to know what you all are willing to commit to. What are you willing to commit to?
I will do whatever it takes to get my daughter back. I don't want to leave her like this. And I'm not sure if she wants to.
I think she's hurting. And I think it's going to take some time. In fact, I know it's going to take some time. You're hurting. You're hurting deeply. And you both are in different ways. You both have experienced a huge loss in your lives. You've lost your husband. You've lost your father. And now you're angry because on top of that, you feel like you've lost the opportunity to go to college. I'm going to say it one more time. Lily, we're going to figure out how you're going to go to college. That is going to happen. But it also may mean that you need to get a job. You know, you may have to do some work study.
So think about this. People judge decisions differently when they know the outcome. Imagine the mother uses the college fund and saves the house. A couple years later, the daughter is angry. Now, imagine the opposite. The mother protects the college fund, loses the house, and they're both living somewhere else. People often judge decisions based on the outcome that they can see rather than the options that existed at the time. The mother wasn't choosing between a good option and a bad option. She was choosing between two bad options. And to me, communication doesn't fix everything. Sometimes people act like communication automatically solves problems. It doesn't always. Even if the mother had set her down and said, your dad died, we're about to lose the house, I need to use some money, the daughter still might have hated the decision. So the real issue may not be the conversation. Real issue is that there was never going to be a decision that didn't hurt someone. Let's keep going.
I also need you to make sure that we get an appointment for you for a good financial advisor.
Okay.
My team is going to work on that with you.
Okay.
Get you an appointment and you're going to sit down. Maybe the house that you're used to being in is not going to be the house that you're going to live in. Okay. It may be a smaller house. It may be a condo. We may have to downsize. We may have to sacrifice some.
Right.
But we're going to figure this out.
Okay.
Because Lily is going to go to college. She is going to go to college. All right. So we're going to figure out the financial piece of this. All right.
Yeah.
But what I need is a commitment. Do I need to come down there? I need a commitment from the two of you that you're going to really commit to trying to fix this relationship. But it is not going to happen overnight. It's not. We didn't get into this situation overnight. We're not going to get out of it overnight. You know how long I've been doing this? For a long time. You know, and I've seen too many broken hearts. All right, so you've said to me you don't want to be in counseling. I need you to reconsider that. You need her. You need her.
Yeah.
All right? So you may have to swallow your pride, may have to sell the house, may have to downsize. Maybe instead of a home, maybe it's a condominium, but it doesn't matter. It's like wherever you are, it's what home is.
Right.
All right. So we're going to get a financial advisor, counseling. Be honest. Be honest.
I'm open to going when I feel like I'm ready, you know.
When will you be ready? You don't know. I need you to get ready. You know, sometimes you just have to jump in the deep end, you know, and I'm asking you to go because you don't know if it's going to work unless you try it. I need you to be willing to try it. Come on. I need you to be willing to try this. Right?
It just seems like a lot.
It's a lot. And I'm asking you because it's not just the joint counseling with your mother. It's the grieving counseling that you need to have individually for yourself. Because one day you're going to perhaps have children. You don't want to carry this dark cloud over you into a relationship if you decide that you want to have children. You don't. Okay? So I need you to jump in the deep end. I need you to go counseling. I need you to try it. And perhaps the individual counseling. That's what we need to do. We need to schedule the individual counseling first. And then counseling with your mom. All right? Anything you all want to say to each other?
I love you, Lily, and I want to do anything we can to move forward. I'm sorry that we lost Roger, but I think we can make this work. I'd really love to try anything we
The
can.
judge is presenting a really interesting life question. A lot of people wait to forgive, to go to therapy, have a difficult conversation, change their life. Sometimes readiness comes after action, not before it. For me personally, I think action is what spurs change. There is also a difference between understanding and agreeing. I think people get stuck on this. The daughter may never agree with what the mother did. You can completely understand a decision and still hate it. That is a much more mature conversation than deciding who is right. Let's find out the verdict.
All right, I'm going to do something unusual. I'm going to suspend ruling on this case. I'm going to hold it in suspension. But eventually, there's going to have to be the $25,000 back
Okay.
into a trust fund, a savings account for her to go. So technically, I am ruling in her favor today, but I am holding that open because it's not realistic that you can come up with $25,000 today. You just can't.
Yeah.
Let's be really clear about it.
Okay.
So you're going to have to do your part. You're going to have to do your part, and you're going to have to work together.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
You do what you have to do to get what you need. Right? And in the end of this, your father will be very proud that you didn't give up and that you did not use this as a reason for not doing what you need to do. Are we clear? So technically, yes, I'm entering judgment in favor of you today, but I am holding implementation of that judgment until we can figure out a realistic plan to make that happen. All right. There's nothing further. We'll stand adjourned.
Nobody in this story got the life that they thought they were going to have. Sometimes the hardest thing in life is accepting that reality doesn't care what the plan was. Which brings us to our big life lesson. Sometimes survival requires sacrifices that nobody wants to make. But let's do better. Don't let grief make an enemy out of the people who are suffering beside you. Now, my final question for you. Would you rather lose the college fund or lose the family home? Put your answers in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, follow, and share. And I will see you again soon.